Alright boys, so I want to talk about two builds I created for the day 1 raid experience. We all know that during the day 1 raid, you're at 20 light levels below the intended power level, which means that enemies are going to take more damage and are going to hit a lot harder. So I made these two builds with that in mind. There's going to be no gameplay here, there's just going to be me talking because I want to talk about specific reasons why I did certain things with this build. So let's start with the first one. Is going to be a voidwalker build. We're going to go over to the class menu. Now we're going to use vortex grenades because I like the fact that it pulls enemies in, and we're going to use chaos accelerant so I can overcharge my grenades. It's going to make them bigger and do more damage and last longer. We're also going to use feed the void for devour so I can get grenade energy in return, as well as refill my health upon each kill. Now moving on to my fragments, we're using echo of remnants so my grenades last longer, echo of persistence so that we devour lasts longer. This is really important here. And then we're also using echo of undermining so my grenades weaken. This is massive, especially for a day 1 raid where enemies are just so chunky. You want to have a way to weaken, so this is how I'm going to do that. Now I'm not using Child of the Old Gods. It makes me sad because I love that aspect, but I just feel like having strong grenades is more important than having the Child of the Old Gods, because if I'm using echo of undermining, I can already weaken, and I have a grenade that's going to be doing more damage. So I don't really need Child of the Old Gods, although I could switch to it if I need to. Now moving on, I have a couple of other weapons here. Like, I'm just loving up this one. I want to use a lot of void weapons because of volatile rounds, so I have this SMG as well as my fusion rifle. Honestly, the loadout, it doesn't really matter because of the way I have my mod set up, that it allows for a lot of flexibility. Now I have 100 recovery and 100 strength. I also have contraverse hold. Now moving on to the mods, we're using ashes to assets and rocket launcher ammo finder. As you can see, I have enough spaces for ammo finders or ashes to assets as well as volatile flow. So I set this up so I can have either reloaders, finders, scavengers, whatever. You'll see when I get there. And my exotic is contraverse hold. Landing a grenade is going to give me grenade energy in return, which is really massive here because I have very low discipline. As you guys can see, I have 19 discipline, but with devour, contraverse hold, and double bomber mods, I plan to make up for that. We also have grenade kickstart and elemental charge. As well as you can see, I can put whatever reloader I'm going to use. I plan to stay away from semi-automatic weapons like hand cannons and scout rifles because day 1 raids just takes so long and there's so many enemies and you're going to be clicking so much. I just honestly want to be lazy and just hold the fire button and not have to tap every single time. On my chest piece, we have protective light. Of course, this is a given. We also have our damage resist mods. We also have a couple of mod slot opens for whatever reason if we need like a ammo reserve mods or something like that. On my legs, we have, of course, our scavengers, rocket launcher, ammo scavenger. Now, I can't fit any scavenger on here. Like, I won't be able to fit grenade launcher scavenger. If I need to, I can just drop this down to a minor mod or just take it off completely. But I'd rather not do that. But if I need to, I will. But this is really important, seeking wells, because I'm going to be spawning elemental wells, which is how I'm going to be able to become charged with light. And then on our class item, this is an artifice armor, so I have that extra mod slot here. We have double bombers with elemental ordnance. Again, this is a grenade build, so this is the best way to become charged with light for me in this specific build. And I have a feeling there's going to be overloads, so I have on overload grenades. Now, honestly, this is one of my most perfect min-max build, especially for something really hard like a day 1 raid content, because enemies are going to be doing a lot of damage, and I have enough space in my armor for any type of finders, reloaders, damage mods or damage resist mods, and scavengers. And I have an overload option as well, and I can always just put, if I need to use something here, I can change out grenade kickstart. It's really not a big deal, or I can just get rid of my reloader. So I'm not really too worried about it, but this is a really good build. And if you're looking for something for voidwalker for day 1 raid, I suggest looking for this one, or using this one, I should say. So now let's go ahead and switch over to my other build, which happens to be a stasis build. Now this whole build revolves around using stasis turrets, spawning as many as I can for that extra ad control, which is massive for the day 1 raid because there's going to be so many enemies, and those enemies are going to hit like a truck. Right here I have to take off overload nades because I'm not on a void subclass, and right here I slot on firepower. So let me go ahead and start with the subclass. Like I said, we're on stasis, so shadebinder. Since we're using Osmiomancy gloves, we're going to use cold snap grenades for the double stasis turrets, as well as using Osmiomancy makes the stasis grenade come back so fast. Like, cold snap grenades come back very quickly with Osmiomancy. We're using glacial harvest to spawn these stasis shards, so I can help my teammates out, help myself out with the stasis shards and getting my melee back, as well as become charged with light. And as for my fragments, I'm using a weapon with headstone, so whisper shards is very important. Whisper of conduction, so the stasis shards track to me. Whisper of fishes, so my stasis just does more damage. and Whisper of Change, so I have damage resist. I'm not using Protective Light with this build, so this is how I'm going to resist some damage because I'm going to be freezing a ton of enemies and spawning stasis crystals everywhere. Now, when it comes to my weapons, like I said, I'm using a weapon with Headstone. I have a Herod C. You can also use IS Luna or the new Crate Auto Rifle, as well as the new SMG. Your special, you can use whatever you want here. Now, I'm not using Volatile Flow, but maybe I'll switch to it during the raid. I don't know what we'll need, so you can really use whatever you want. But a weapon with Headstone is very, very important for this build. Now, as you can see, I'm using 100 Recovery and 100 Discipline. Now, as for our mods, we have Hands-On and Rocket Launcher Ammo Finder. Again, I have enough space to put whatever finder I would like here, and Elemental Charge is how I'm going to become Charger Light to take advantage of firepower. Now, on my gloves, we are using the Osmiomancy gloves. These are brand new to Witch Queen. It states here that your Cold Snap grenades have an additional charge that recharges quicker on direct impact, meaning that if you throw the Cold Snap grenade right at the enemy and hit them with it, you're going to get a lot of grenade energy back. It's actually really crazy how much you get back. The Seekers spawn from Cold Snaps travel farther. Now, that's really good. It's not really that necessary, but the direct impact is very, very important. We also have melee kickstart on. I don't have high strength at all, besides my stasis shards, so that's going to help me get my melee back. I have auto rifle loader. I can put whatever reloader I need here. I have some empty slots, and then we're using elemental charge. Again, this is very, very important. I'm sorry, elemental shards. This is very, very important because these stasis shards will make me become Charger Light, because now they count as stasis elemental wells. On my chest piece, we have 1 stack of firepower as well as our damage resist mods. On my legs, I have another stack of firepower, again with enough space for any type of scavengers I need. And on my Warlock bond, we also have another stack of firepower as well as double bomber mods. This is going to play into the stasis turret spam for this build. Like I said, this build is all about crowd control. So if there comes to a point where we really need to focus on controlling these ads because they're becoming overwhelming for my fire team, I will switch this build and go ahead and take care of all those ads because the stasis turrets are insane. I was testing this build out. I didn't record it, I should have, but I was able to have 4 stasis turrets up by myself pretty easily too. I just had to spawn a couple of stasis crystals, blow them up, land some direct hits, throw out the turrets, get Charger Light, and the cycle just goes on. So these are my 2 builds for the day 1 raid. I highly recommend using them if you can get exactly what I have here in the correct placements with the correct stat distributions. You can still have 100 recovery and 100 discipline for this build, and my other build is 100 recovery and 100 strength with Devour and double bomber. So go ahead and try this build out. I feel like this is really going to help me for the day 1 raid. I'm very excited for it. I will release this the morning of, well, I'm recording the day before, so you're seeing it the morning of the day 1 raid. So hope you guys are doing it. Definitely try it out, give it a shot. Hope you guys beat it. I'm very excited for my team. I think we have a pretty good chance, so I'm really looking forward to it. But if you guys like this content, definitely leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and be on the lookout for more videos like this. Deuces.